Cardinal bullpen and the different weapons, you can see, Al, that a lot of these guys are starting to figure out what their role is, and it's really mixed together well.
And you can see where the rankings are in the National League. Save percentage, #1. ERA is 4th. Saves is 5th. But it's just not all the closer. 5 different relievers have gotten saves out of that bullpen.
Dave Veers got a really tough save last night when he ended up with a runner at second. Nobody out. He got around that. Christensen has been a nice addition to that bullpen.
Absolutely. You know, he retires the first man he faces every time he makes an appearance. He is not allowed a hit to a left-handed batter yet. So that's a situational left-hander that you really need.
Well, when the offense is sputtering, we talk about pitching and we talk about defense. Andy Bennis is on the mound tonight. He'll try to get back to the 500 mark. When we come back, we'll talk about the Cardinal defense behind that pitching. Back in a minute. Back at Busch Stadium, we hope the rain stays away. Cardinals and Reds, game 4 of this set before the Cardinals go on to Wrigley Field. Al Raboski, there's no doubt that strikeouts get the attention. They make it on the highlight shows, but they are overrated. If you have a good defense, use it.
Absolutely. And, you know, a couple years ago when we were trying to upgrade our pitching staff, I said the first way and simplest way is to upgrade your defense. If you catch the ball behind your pitchers, boy, it makes their life so much easier.
Well, on this homestand alone, and in particular in the series with Cincinnati, we've seen a lot of good defense, a lot of good outfield play. The throw by Drew here on Friday night, that was followed by the Edmonds play. We talked to Mike Matthews, last night's starter, about what it's like to pitch in front of this good Cardinal defense.
Well, I think it's a luxury, knowing that you don't have to be too fine as a pitcher. You can make your pitches, but you don't have to, you know, actually look for a certain spot. You can just kind of throw to a side of the plate. But especially when they're making plays like we've been doing all year. So, I mean, I feel real confident with our 9 guys, and it makes it a lot easier on us.
Joe, in an era of pitch counts, if you want to keep your pitcher out there, put the ball in play, and there's nothing more reassuring to know that if you put it in play, it's going to be an out.
Well, Andy Bennis has an ERA of up near 7. It's time for him to get it going. He's 3-4, and he takes on the Cincinnati Reds. It's Cardinal baseball, and it comes your way next on Fox Sports Net. Cardinal baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By your local Chrysler and Jeep dealers, the official automotive sponsor of the Cardinals on Fox Sports Net. By Pennzoil, protection under the toughest conditions. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. For tires and complete auto service, all you need is Dobbs. And by Southwest Airlines, celebrating 30 years of freedom, 30 years, one mission, low fares. Inside Busch Stadium, Andy Bennis and the Cardinals take the field. The Southwest Airlines starting lineup for the Cincinnati Reds. Deion Sanders leads it off in left field. That puts a smile on Al's face. And Michael Tucker bats second. Alex Ochoa is in right. Sean Casey on the road this season at .389 average, which leads the league. Then it's Dimitri Young in left. Bill Selby at second. Pokey reached the shortstop. Stinnett's the catcher. And Osvaldo Fernandez pitches, bats ninth. Here's Bennis.
Well, we want Andy to start his second half. In April and May, he usually struggles, 15 games under 500 in those months, and then he takes off the second half. He's got to attack. He's got to pitch very aggressively ahead in the count and hopefully inside. And he needs to eat up some innings because that bullpen has been overworked of late.
Bullpen overworked last night, mainly because of the rain delay. Mike Matthews could not come back after going 3 innings, so the bullpen took care of the rest, and now 6 shutout innings to help the Cardinals win at 4-3. Today's Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Craig Paquette gets the start at first base. Fernando Vina is in the lineup. Then it's Polanco over at third base. The shortstop getting his Silver Slugger Award before the game, Edgar Renteria, for his work last year. Out in the outfield, Ray Langford. In center is Kerry Robinson. That means Edmonds has the night off, and J.D. Drew is over in right. Even a guy like Drew might get the night off. As you look at the Cardinal catcher, Andy Bennis on the mound. Tony La Russa would probably like to give J.D. the night off, but he had to fill 8 position player spots, so Drew's in there, Langford's in there. Otherwise, some fresh faces for Osvaldo Fernandez, and hopefully, Al, some fresh bodies when the Cardinals take on the Cubs at Wrigley.
Well, I think that's the key. Have everybody ready, able, and energized for that series. But you got to take care of business tonight, and that starts right here in defeating Cincinnati Reds.
Deion Sanders first up with his 172 average, and he's way out in front. Strike one. Remember when Deion Sanders was activated on May the 1st, he went 3 for 3. As he pops it foul, that'll get out of play. Well, he has only 8 hits since then in 61 at bats. Today's Chrysler Jeep pitching matchup. This is half of it. Andy Bennis. His numbers so far this season. The ERA is what's staggering to this point. But he does have 3 wins compared to his 4 losses as Sanders takes it up and away, ball 1.
Well, the good news is he's 15 games under 500 in his career, April and May. Just 1 game under 500 this year, but then a 106-77 mark.
That should start trouble as Deion Sanders gets a base hit up the middle. Bennis talking in the paper today about giving up a lot of hits with either the off-speed pitch or the breaking ball. That one clocked at 74. That wasn't the fastball.
No, not at all. And you know, you kind of have to pitch to your strengths and not a hitter necessarily his weakness. There's the breaking ball that is kind of lazy. It's over the middle of the plate and taken right back up the middle. So Andy, and remember Tewksbury, who we all marveled. Everyone said, well, he doesn't throw hard, but he threw 70% fastballs, but he spotted it well.
Here's Michael Tucker, the number 2 hitter, off to a 268 start. Sanders on, and Matheny will keep an eye and a half over on first base. That's on the outside corner. There are the numbers Al was talking about after the break. A 76 and 53 mark, and look at the drop in ERA. That's in his career. Here's an 0-1. Tried to go inside, and the count 1-1. Deion Sanders, in case you're wondering, has stolen 3 bases, been caught 3 times.
You know, that is one thing that the Reds, in his nearly 4 years of absence, thought that the running game would still be there, and it hasn't been. And even his outfield play has been a little bit shaky.
Here's a 1-1. That's on the outside corner, 1-2. So we see predominantly fastballs to this hitter, and I bet if Andy could go back in time, he'd challenge Deion Sanders with a fastball in front of the count 1-2.
But you do have to be careful with Tucker throwing fastballs. He's the kind of guy that really has trouble with a breaking ball, but you can get him out with fastballs if you spot it.
Runner starts and stops, and Tucker fouls it out of play. Cardinals will head to Chicago tonight. Start a series at Wrigley tomorrow night. 3 games there, then it's on to Colorado. Remember, that's only June. The June Central Division standings has the Cubs on top. Their pitching has taken off, and the Cardinals will face 3 good ones. Here's the 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. After Wrigley, it's a move out west to Colorado and then back to the western part of the state, Kansas City, before coming home for the longest homestand of the season. Tucker with a count of 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sanders at first with nobody out. 1 out, throw down, and safe is Sanders, who just got back in front of the tag. Our Hyundai dealers key matchup looks like this. We compare Cincinnati and what they've done at home as opposed to the road. They don't like the newly configured Synergy Field with a record of 7-21 for the runs per game. The ERA is actually better at home, so the offense goes into hiding when they're back in Cincinnati.
A little bit misleading because they have lost 9 of their last 13 road games. So it's just the injuries have mounted at both sides.
He went, strike 1. Mark Hirschbeck. Alex Ochoa. I don't care if this guy's hitting .002 when the Cardinals roll into town, or when he comes to St. Louis, he hits. 4 out of 10 in this series. He was all over the bases against the Cardinals back in Cincinnati. 1-1. So far, no movement from Deion Sanders, and I, Joseph Francis Buck, born in St. Petersburg, Florida, am inviting Deion Sanders to run if he so chooses.
Anytime Mike Matheny is given a shot by his pitcher, we'll take our chances.
That's on the corner, 1-2.
Ochoa thought this ball was outside. Wally Bell has a definitive and final answer for him.
Nope. Yes, it was on the corner. Here comes a 1-2 with Sanders at first, 1 out. Oh, 2-2. Pretty good pitch. Well, these are not good numbers in his career if you're Andy Bennis. I know you're about to make one of your predictions, but don't do it.
Oh, I was going to say the do factor's in Andy's favor.
5 out of 6. Remember, he pounded a home run against Bennis back in Cincinnati, leading off on that Friday night. Here's a 2-2. Full count, and they may start the runner here.
Yeah, that was the only home run the Reds hit in their homestand. 6-game homestand and just 1 home run.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
In that ballpark. Still a good hitter's park, and just the 1 home run. And that was in a loss. That was a game the Cardinals came back with Paquette's pinch hit 3-run game-winning home run in the 9th inning. Runner goes, 3-2 pitch, and we'll do it again. And a good play by a fan over in the Redbird Roost. Okay, sit down.
Mike Matheny, see, even though the ball is fouled back, he's receiving and getting ready to throw. Strike him out, throw him out, and it just comes with anticipation.
Sanders will likely run with a 3-2 pitch coming the way of Alex Ochoa. There he goes, and right back here. Dive. Not you. Garcia.
Thought we were buddies.
Garcia.
Oh, Timmy.
3 balls, 2 strikes. So Sanders has been running on each of these 3-2 pitches.
A little bit of spring out of his legs.
Runner goes right back up the middle, and Sanders will end up at third base. That almost caught a piece of Bennis on its way back through, and now Alex Ochoa is 6 out of 7 lifetime against Andy Bennis, and it's first and third for Sean Casey.
You're going to give up some hits, but if you can avoid the running count and complicate. Now they're breaking ball out over the plate, just kind of sitting there, and it almost hit one of those tree trunks that Andy calls legs.
So Bennis will deal with Sean Casey, and Casey could put the Reds on top. They were on top last night, 3-0 in the 4th inning when the rain hit. They could take a 1st inning lead here tonight. Casey takes a ball high.
Casey leads the team in hitting, hits, total bases, doubles, homers, and RBIs. There you see leading the National League in road average.
Sanders, Ochoa, singles here in the 1st inning. The step to third, look to first. Didn't work. Did not work. We'll try it again later.
First time tonight it didn't work.
It only took 10 minutes, and we had a step to third, look to first. A 1-0 to Casey. 2-0 to the Pittsburgh native, guy who grew up rooting for the Pirates. Tell he didn't grow up rooting for the Cardinals with those numbers. 380 in his career here at this ballpark. Runners at the corners. 2-0 pitch. Base hit. Reds lead. Ochoa will stop at second. In to score is Deion Sanders, and it's 1-0 Cincinnati. And still 2 on, only 1 out.
Now the breaking ball, off-speed pitch, out over the plate, but this guy has tremendous plate coverage. And he can lose one, he put it in his zone, but he will spray the ball around. Very difficult to defense.
Here's where the Cardinals have been getting killed on this homestand, mainly against Milwaukee. The big inning. It's nothing that's hit him over the course of a game, but it's been a 4 or 5 or 6 run inning, and we'll see if Andy Bennis can limit the damage. It won't be easy with Dimitri Young at the plate. 2 on, 1 out. Bennis a victim of that, by the way, in his last start against Milwaukee, when he lasted only 3 2/3 innings and allowed 9 runs on 10 hits.
He had, what, 8 strikeouts in that ball game, but 10 hits and a very poor number of innings.
A 1-0. There's a chance for one. Can they turn it? Vigna in the middle. They got it. 6-4-3, and that's Andy Bennis limiting the damage. And again, it's Vigna in the middle, cheating a little, getting rid of it in a hurry. Boy, it's getting foggy at the ballpark. What's going on? 1-0 Reds. A 1-0 Cincinnati lead. A run on 3 hits. A double play helped the Cardinals. Today's Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Fernando Vigna leads it off. Kerry Robinson is up at the top with Polanco, Drew. That's in his career hitting cleanup. First time this year he's doing it. Paquette, Langford, Renteria, Matheny, and Andy Bennis. Pitches and bats 9th. Here's Osvaldo Fernandez.
Well, they're trying to figure out where Fernandez is. He's had a lot of arm problems, so they're wondering, is there something wrong with him? They want him to pitch. But in 55 innings, you see 25 walks, 25 strikeouts. When he gets in trouble, he starts working very slow and methodical. And his last 2 times out, he's just been really roughed up. Total of 7 innings and 13 hits, 11 runs, 11 earned runs in those last 2 starts.
Well, here's Vigna trying to get it going. He's only 1 out of 12 in this series for the year, hitting .295. Those little feet start digging. Somebody get this man a shovel. Vigna ready to go. So is Fernandez, and the bottom of the first. Hop comes up for Selby. 1 away. I am not being facetious when I say this, but with Dimitri Young over at third base, if you don't test him over there, you're not trying.
Very good point. You know, a lot of rain that this field has absorbed the last few days, and you know, he signed as a shortstop with the Cardinals, did play some third base in some early minor league years.
Kerry Robinson takes a strike after Vigna went after the first pitch. Kerry is hitting .353, and last night when he came up in the 7th in a spot to bunt, he couldn't get the bunt down, so he got a base hit. Attaway Kerry. He was trying to push it over to third, and that's strike 2. Robinson was in the minor league system when Dimitri Young was around. And that's no knock Dimitri Young. The Cardinals would love to have Dimitri Young back, but if he's at third base, it tells you how hard they've been hit by injuries. Still 0-2. Osvaldo Fernandez took care of Vigna. Now Robinson tries to protect the plate with an 0-2 count. Jammed, and a little flare down the line. Can anybody get there? Reese, good play. 2 out. 2 up, 2 down. Today's Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Center. Sean Casey is the first baseman. Over at second base, Bill Selby. He already has a put out. At third base, we talked about him, Dimitri Young. The shortstop is Pokey Reese. Out of the outfield, it's Deion Sanders in left. Michael Tucker is in center. And Alex Ochoa is in right. He's got one of the better throwing arms in the league. Kelly Stinnett does the catching, and Fernandez is on the hill. With 2 out, nobody on, dealing with Polanco. Ball disappeared on Placido. Strike 1.
Polanco's 1 for 3 when he's faced Fernandez in the past.
1-1.
Fernandez from Cuba. Defected, came over here. He's had some real nasty arm problems, and matter of fact, the Giants just didn't think he'd ever recover, so they didn't give him another contract.
That's on the corner, and it's 1-2. 90 miles an hour from Fernandez, so that got up there in a hurry.
And you know, and I think his 90 miles an hour looks a lot quicker because he looks so slow and deliberate, and the ball just jumps out of his hand.
That's the opposite way in trouble. Will it skip past Ochoa? Polanco is going to hold after Alex makes a good play. Wow. A 2-out single, and that's the reputation and the arm strength of Ochoa, holding Polanco at first.
But you leave the batter's box with the mindset that you're going to get to, and then you watch the play develop. A lot of it has to do with Ochoa getting over, cutting it off, and come up throwing it quickly. You leave the batter's box, you think too, the play's right in front of you, you aggressively go to second, and then the defense or the throw stops you. And that is the wise decision with Ochoa.
Now it's Drew cleaning up. 19 home runs, his career high, just 2 out of 10 in this series. It includes a home run. And you would think that Fernandez will give him one off-speed pitch after another. Our Casino Queen leaderboard, major league leaders. There's Drew with the 3rd highest total. Bonds has been on 29 for the entire weekend as JD takes it up and away 2-0.
It was interesting, though, that was the major league leaderboard, and they're all in the National League. Who's leading in the American League you so feverishly are looking for?
Alex Rodriguez with 18, Manny Ramirez with 18, Carlos Delgado with 18.
I was going to say Ramirez.
Manny already has 60 RBIs. Here's a 2-0. Drops in for a strike. Who's number 2? I'll give you $1,000, Al, if you can tell me who number 2 is
in
the American League. In the American League, unless you've looked it up,
no,
you have to be honest.
I honestly have not. And my answer would probably indicate it.
1 on, 2 out. Drew took it up and in, 3-1. Brett Boone. Can you believe that?
Wow. Well, I guess you can see how it would happen with the lead that they have in the West, the Seattle Mariners.
But they lose Alex Rodriguez, and everybody's wondering where they're going to get the offense from. They're getting it out of one of their middle infielders, except that middle infielder is Brett Boone. Here's a 3-1. Oh, look out over there. I don't know how that happens, but it didn't hit anything but a seat over there.
And it's very fortunate. JD, we talk about how he's even thinking of spreading out a little bit to keep his center of balance where he's not out in front so drastically on off-speed pitches. But he's done a very good job. There's still ways to work on those off-speed pitches, but much better.
Runner goes as Drew's out in front again. And he's got people on the right side of the ballpark, whether they're in the dugout or over in the seats over there ducking with these swings, as Fernandez is flipping it in there at that last one, 84. I don't think Drew's going to get a 3-2 fastball.
Now remember, I've seen where there are areas behind the first base bag down there that they have roped off, wouldn't let people sit there. That's because of shortstop's wild throws.
3-2, up and in, 2 on, 2 out with Paquette coming up.
The book on Fernandez is when he starts getting in a little bit of trouble, he starts becoming more deliberate, a little slower worker. That also hurts his defense behind him.
Here is Paquette hitting .261. One of his most thrilling at bats in his career came in Cincinnati 2 Fridays ago.
You were a little shocked, weren't you, that that was his first pinch hit home run?
I was. 2 on, 2 out here. And that's a foul ball.
Craig is the guy that you can get him on those breaking pitches. If they're really down, he has a tough time laying off them. He'll chase them. But if you hang one, he will do what he did on that Friday night to win a ball game.
Talk about a classic first ball hitter. Paquette is always up there ready to swing. 2 on, 2 out. So the Cardinals threaten. They're down by a run in the first inning. 1-1. So far at home, he's not only been a solid Busch Stadium hitter, but he's come up with some big hits in the short time he's been with the Cardinals. Here at Busch, 2 on, 2 out. 2-1. Like a dart thrower, Fernandez brings it up by his ear and slings it home.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Very slow, deliberate, and kind of starts aiming the ball when he gets a little bit of jam.
Two on with 2 out. See if Paquette can pop one here. The count 2-1. There's Dimitri Young. He'll go the short way and get the out. Force out 5-4, and this game goes to the second. A long first inning. Game 4 of this 4-game set. 1-0 Cincinnati. A 1-0 Cincinnati lead into the second. Thursday, June 21st. The Cardinals take on Chicago, and it's Bank of America checkbook cover day here at the ballpark for the first 25,000 fans, 16 and over. With a paid admission, you receive a Cardinals checkbook cover courtesy of Bank of America. Thursday, June 21, Cardinals and Chicago at 12:40. Here's Bill Selby, took a strike. Selby hitting .278 with 2 RBIs. He's been hitting the ball much better of late. He's in the hole 0-2.
I know he likes Cardinal pitching. Final game in Cincinnati, got 3 hits, got a couple hits the other night against the Redbirds.
Pinch hit last night successfully. That came in the 8th inning with 2 out, and he's 3 out of 6 in this series.
So at least 6 of his, 10 hits are against the Redbirds.
Breaking ball is fly to center for Kerry Robinson. We haven't seen much of him in the outfield, especially in center field, and goes and gets it 1 out.
Jim Edmonds has told me he's very impressed with Kerry, and you know how we've always talked about it. So, well, he doesn't have a strong throwing arm, and Edmonds is saying he disagrees. He says it's not anywhere near as poor as people make it out to be. He say he'll play catch with him. He's got a little carry to it.
Well, you can get spoiled watching Edmonds out in center, though. 1 out, nobody on. People talked about Griffey being the best center fielder. He makes all those catches back on the wall because he plays so deep. Edmonds plays shallow. He can go back and get them, and he can come in and take a lot of hits away. Kerry Robinson comes in. Pokey Reese is gone. 2 out. The Schnooks, this date in Cardinal history, we go way back in Al's little time machine. June 4th, 1940. A crowd of 23,500 see the Cardinals lose to Brooklyn 10-1 in the first night game in St. Louis. Medwick went 5 for 5.
What nationality was Joe Medwick?
Well, you're asking the question. Hungarian?
Absolutely.
Here's a line drive into left. Back is Langford. That was easy. Gone is Stinnett. 3 fly ball outs. Bottom of the second in St. Louis. The Cardinals will have Langford, Renteria, Matheny. 1-0 Cincinnati on a cold, rainy night. Game 4 of this series, and I'll talk more in the bottom of the inning. Cardinals bat in the second. They're down by a run. 1-0 Cincinnati. Coming up immediately after the game tonight, join us for the Midwest Sports Report. We will have a complete Cardinal Reds postgame report, preview the Major League Baseball draft, and Jeff Gordon's take on Keith Tkachuk and Eric Lindros right after the game on Fox Sports Net. You can watch that while the Cardinals make their way to Lambert Airport to go to Chicago.
John didn't see Bobby Bonilla in that dugout.
He is serving his suspension today.
Yep.
Our Bud Light What's on Tap, Cardinals and Cubs tomorrow at 6:30 on Fox Sports Net. Al and Dan will have that for you from Wrigley.
And well, Bobby Bonilla was suspended 1 game by the National League for his part in that bench clearing brawl against, I guess, last Monday against the Brewers
on Memorial Day.
Yeah, and I guess when you have the likes of Edmonds and Pujols and a guy named McGuire sitting on the bench, this would be the right day to sit out.
First pitch is a strike to Langford. Ray hitting .266. 3 out of 11 in this series. His RBI total up to 31 as he rips a base hit into right. And again, Ochoa to his left. Does he field it cleanly? Yep, and that means it's a single. The throw is always the icing on the cake, but we've talked about it before. How you go get the ball and get yourself ready to throw determines whether a guy is going to try to push it to a double or not.
This pitch is tailor-made for Ray Langford. A breaking ball coming right down and into him. That's the pitch where he just turns on. And that's what you're talking about. All you have to do is aggressively cut a ball off and come up with the intent to throw. And then that's even more picture perfect. You got a good throwing arm. Why not practice it? Try and execute. Think the guy's running. I've seen guys that get to the point, got a good throwing arm, and people stop running off them, so they stop throwing, and then all of a sudden people take the base off.
Did you know that Big Dog Dave Anderson did the camera work on that shot?
Big Dog that just had his signature on it, didn't it? There he is.
You know, he and Jim Jackson could be long lost brothers. There's a similarity there. That's way outside. Renteria was trying to check on his old pal Dimitri Young over at third.
I like your idea, Joe. Why not? You know, we have not seen Dimitri sufficiently tested.
Tell you what, he's turned himself into a pretty good outfielder.
Yes, he has. I mean, with a lot of hard work, and that's something that Dimitri was never afraid of.
Hit and run. And that works as the Cardinals get the tying run into scoring position. Renteria chops one to Fernandez, 1 out.
We're going to see Fox in sync.
I mean, there's a similarity there, isn't there?
Well, it kind of reminds me of, you know, the Bennises. Jim Jackson would be Adam Bennis. You know, Adam didn't get as many meals as Andy and Allen did.
Yeah, I'm just saying coloring and look. We by no means will start calling Jim Jackson Big Dog, Little Dog, or just plain old Dog. What up, dog? In for a strike. Matheny hitting .216, 3 home runs, and home run number 3 was a big one last night as it got the Cardinals going. On their way down 3-0, then it was 3-2, and the Cardinals tied it in the 6th, took the lead in the 7th, and hung on to it with that good bullpen work. See if Matheny can deliver again. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, Joe, we always talk about Mike's defense is so important to this pitching staff and team in general that anything you get offensively is just gravy. But that doesn't satisfy Mike Matheny. And that was a big, important blow for him last night to feel like he's contributing offensively again.
It's also becoming vital with the other guys not hitting. That's in for a strike, and it's 1-2. First car, a 1967 Dodge pickup truck. That suits Mike. Mike is a workman kind of guy that becoming trite and old and overused, but a lunch pail type guy that he comes here to work and work hard every day. Runner at second, one out. Bennis is the on deck hitter. 2-2.
People might be surprised that Mike is one of those guys too that once the game is complete, his work doesn't stop. He continues to do a lot of exercises, does some different things for strengthening his arm, and every year he adds another repetition to the regimen.
He got 5 kids. He doesn't want to go home. Just kidding. He's a terrific dad to those 5, and he's out victim here as Pokey Reese takes care of it. 2 out. It's up to Andy Bennis.
Ray Lankford, good base running. He advances. Now the rule of thumb is the ball's hit in front of you, you cannot advance. But if you get a lead, and you see shortstop trying to sneak in behind him, but if you take your lead, now all of a sudden that ball is behind you, and so you can scoot on over to third.
You ready for Andy Bennis' 5th RBI of the year?
Yes, I'm ready for him to get hit number 98 too of his career.
Runner at third, 2 out. Oh, almost didn't.
That would
need
help.
Stinnett stabbed it, ball 1.
Andy leads the club with 4 RBIs this year. He leads all active pitchers with those 7 home runs.
And he'll tell you all about every one of them if you stop him on the street one day. Langford at third with 2 out. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bennis can't catch up to that hook, and it's 1-2. It's starting to waver, Al. I'm not so sure that he's going to knock home his 5th of the season right here.
He's not going to take third strike.
I need a sign. I need something to give me hope here. Runner at third, 2 out. Slow, slower, and slowest. And for Fernandez, his first strikeout. Ray Langford started it with a hit. He was left on, and after 2, 1-0 Reds. 1-0 Cincinnati on top as we move to the top of the 3rd. On the field, they're invincible, but off the field, they're all too human. Fox Sports takes a look at the athletes you thought you knew this week. Sean Elliott appeared to have it all until a mysterious illness tested his will to survive and revealed his true courage. Find out about the Sean Elliott you never knew as Beyond the Glory takes you inside the hidden world of sports' biggest stars. Beyond the Glory, Sunday at 8 p.m. on Fox Sports Net. Osvaldo Fernandez is 1 out of 16 as a batter guy this season. Deion Sanders and Michael Tucker will follow. Sanders has scored the game's only run, and Fernandez takes the ball. That's strike 1. Of the latest wave of Cuban defectors, Osvaldo Fernandez is near the top of the list. Paquette, a nice job just to get down and block it. 1 out. But the guy who started that latest wave is our old buddy Rene Arocha.
Rene Arocha. Of course, Rene and Fernandez were together in San Francisco there for a while. Both of them had a lot of elbow problems, and Fernandez is bouncing back from it.
Here's Deion Sanders.
Does it surprise you the way Sanders has struggled, that he continues to want to play and turns down his multi-million-dollar football contract?
He's not that good of a football player anymore either.
Yeah, but you know, he probably would pass the physical, wouldn't he? Have a chance to play.
I would think. I think Deion Sanders is trying to prove to himself before this is all over that had he chosen baseball as his #1 sport, he'll go down as one of the best defensive backfield players ever, revolutionizing the cornerback position and just shutting down one side of the field. He wants to prove to himself that had he hung with baseball, he would have been a better player. He's been a marginal baseball player at best as he floats one into right. I think he gets by with reputation right now more than numbers or stats. He's hitting 185. At some point, it's nice to have Deion Sanders, but if the guy's not going to hit 200,
right,
then maybe you have to go in a different direction. 2 out, nobody on, and here's Michael Tucker.
It sure makes you think about the difference between AAA now and the major leagues. Big difference.
And nobody could get him out at AAA.
Talking about Deion was batting. He was leading the International League in hitting at 459 and under 200 here in the big leagues.
He's got a very good relationship with the Reds general manager Jim Bowden, and he has that working heavily in his favor as well.
Which the saga of Jim Bowden is maybe coming shattering down.
A story that is interesting and getting more and more interesting as time goes by, as Tucker clunks one foul, 2-2. You know, if you're Deion Sanders and the Reds at some point are going to get Griffey back, you would have to believe, and others start to trickle back from the disabled list, he may be in jeopardy of losing his job with the Reds, and if that happens, then that might be it.
Yeah, because I mean, you got to think that Dimitri and Griffey, along with Ochoa, and you saw him sitting next to Ruben Rivera, who Bob Boone has told me that has more talent than anybody on the field, but he's been an enigma. Yankees trade him to San Diego. San Diego released him this spring.
3 balls, 2 strikes on Tucker with Ochoa next. Michael Tucker with 2 out, nobody on. 3-2 from Bennis. A 2-out single, and for the Reds, their 4th hit of the night.
Another fastball that it seems to be Tucker. The only pitch he can hit is a fastball. Hurt the Cardinals on Friday night with a couple singles and RBIs on fastballs. And Andy had a little fear ball coming back at him.
Here's Ochoa, the last guy Bennis wants to see. 6 out of 7 in his career against Bennis. Hit a rocket back up the middle his first time up, and he takes one low here.
3 of the 4 hits that Andy has allowed have been right back through the box or up the middle.
Runner at first, Tucker, 2 out, 1 ball, no strikes. Ochoa went. Home plate umpire Wally Bell doesn't have to ask for help, and it's 1-1.
Some umpiring crew has done a nice job in the 4-game set. 1 ball, 1 strike. Like a slider.
Runner goes, pitch low, throw down, too late, and Tucker will get up and go to third. That throw by Matheny almost caught Bennis on the back as it went down to second base, and that'll be an error on Mike. Stolen base, E2.
You know, there are times when you got to knock that ball down, and it is the error. Slider, not a real good throw, short hops, and then Vina did not even get a glove on it. I mean, sometimes you got to concede the base and just knock the ball down. And by not knocking the ball down, it gives an extra base. There are 2 outs, and he probably would have scored on a base hit from second either way, but still.
Runner at third, 2 down, and a 2-1 pitch. 3-1 as Venice doesn't get it at the knees, a little low. Coming up on 8 o'clock. Top of the 3rd inning. Cardinals will have the top of the order in the bottom of the inning. Vina, Robinson, and Polanco. Watch out here on 3-1. Jammed a bit and into left center field to end the inning as Kerry Robinson puts it away, and Venice gets around a hit, a stolen base, and an error. Reds have left 2. Bottom of the 3rd inning. They're the guys coming up. 1-0 Cincinnati. This portion of Cardinal baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Auto Tire, the right place for the right tire. By Aflac, without it, no insurance is complete. And by Steak and Shake, famous for our steak burgers. Bottom of the 3rd, a 1-0 Cincinnati lead. Top of the order for the Cardinals. Fred Bird doing his usual fine work here at the ballpark. Cards have been out, hit 4-2. Vina bounced out on the first pitch. Back in the first, and Fernandez has pitched around 2 hits and a walk so far as he deals a strike. The 0-1. Vina hitting .294. Cardinals with a chance to roll into Wrigley Field tomorrow night. 2 games out. If they lose, they'll be 3 out.
Joe, have you seen those pitching pairings for the Chicago series?
That's as good as either team can throw out there for 3 games.
Absolutely. Their 3 best starters against our 3 best, but sure would be nice to have the victory here tonight.
Vina goes the opposite way and gets a base hit. Sanders plays it, and Fernando's on with his 2nd hit of this series.
You got a guy that a little of this, little of that, serving him up there. So important to go to the opposite field or up the middle, stay right on those pitches. You're not pulling off them. That's the easiest way to get on base and to beat those guys. If you have a big pull hitter, I mean, this type of pitcher just eats you alive.
Here's Kerry Robinson. In case you're wondering, by the way, it'll be Hermanson and Lieber tomorrow night. Then Kyle and Kerry Wood, Matt Morris, and Kevin Tapani. And if you haven't looked at Kevin Tapani, he is 8-1 with an ERA under 3.5. But the guy he's pitching against, Matt Morris, is 8-3 with a 2.76 ERA.
A lot of fun in Chicago. We're going to have that game for you tomorrow night right here on Fox Sports Net.
Robinson with a count of 0-1. To the right side and through. Another hit. Vina will turn and try. Throw by Ochoa is wide, and it's 1st and 3rd, nobody out. There's Kerry Robinson right in the middle of it. And there's Vina testing Ochoa and making it to 3rd.
You know, we talk about so many times with Kerry does such a good job going the opposite field, but there are times when you get jammed where you've got to turn on the ball a little bit. And this was one of those cases. And you got him holding on. And here you see the bare hand. He didn't have a real good grip on it. Wasn't his strongest throw, and he got away with it. So you have him hold on that runner there, so he opens up a hitting hole. Vina makes a decision. Sometimes he thinks he's a little faster than he actually is, but this time he gets away with it.
So there's the tying run. The go-ahead run is on at first, and Polanco will be at the plate. Placido singled his first time up the opposite way. Then Drew walked. Paquette grounded out. Runners on at the corners with nobody out, and Polanco with a chance to do some damage. Ball one from Fernandez. Placido Polanco with a runner at third and less than 2 out is 4 out of 9 this season. 6 RBIs in this spot, so that doesn't even account for a ground out for an RBI or a sac fly. He's got that chance here, even a double play ball. One of the middle infielders would tie this game. First and third, nobody out. It's our second step to third, look to first move, and it hasn't worked yet.
Pay attention right here, and you know we do it frequently. So carried not even a false step towards second base. He just returned to first.
I rarely see a pitcher sell that move very well.
You know who the best was?
Rick Sutcliffe.
Nope.
A 1-0. The opposite way. Ochoa coming on, and Vina will hold. Casey cuts it off. First and third, 1 out.
Polanco, I'm sure, thought he had done the job. The ball just carried a little bit too much. And the ball carried out there, and with Ochoa's good throwing arm, Vina really had made the right choice. You know, Jose Oquendo is extremely aggressive out there. There are times where he's got to put the reins on a player, and a good job right there by Oquendo.
I think he thought about tackling Vina going down the line.
You know, Vina, as we mentioned, sometimes his mind thinks his wheels are a little better than they actually are. But I'd rather see a guy be aggressive and force the defense to make mistakes.
Drew, a little squirter. Dimitri Young is play to first. Run scores, and on that, the Cardinals have tied the game at 1. Dimitri Young made a nice play coming across the infield. The only play that he had with that good speed of Vina, or at least good enough. He scores to tie the game.
A little swinging bunt. JD gets his 42nd RBI, and nice play, as you mentioned, from Dimitri. No panic, anticipated what he had to do, and he just makes the play. The only one play he had. Stinnett saying go to first. That was the only play he had, and he didn't hesitate at all.
So a 1-1 game, and here's Paquette. A hit out of the infield would likely give the Cardinals a lead with the speed of Kerry Robinson. Craig 0 for 1 and hitting .258. That miss low and away. A hit by Vina, a hit by Robinson. It pays off as Vina went first to third on that hit by Kerry Robinson. Polanco lined out, and Drew grounded out. Now mentioned his 42nd RBI.
Don't get an off-speed pitch out away from him, and he hits it out to right center.
A 1-0. 2-0 with Ray on deck.
I'd like to see Craig, a lot of times, is what we call a cripples hitter. It's very well with the count in his favor, or like a 3-1 count, 2-0 count.
Well, here is a 2-0 count. Robinson waiting at second base with 2 down. Oh, good swing. 2-1.
There's that breaking ball too. You get ahead in the count, and you can bury that breaking ball down and away, and he'll chase it. But when it's he is hitting in the count in his favor, and if somebody has to throw a strike, they don't finish off that pitch, and they kind of leave it up a little bit, and that's where Craig has the advantage.
Now the 2-1. 3-1. Langford already has a hit tonight. He's driven home 31, and he waits on deck. Paquette has 14 RBIs, 24 hits on the year, and he has a .258 average.
See if it's not the slider. Another hanger.
And it's 3-2.
Yeah, 3-1. You got to throw a strike so you don't finish it off. And it kind of sits right up there. Got a little bit underneath it. Got first base open. You don't want to just throw one down the middle. So a lot of times you'll see that same pitch that you got on 3-1 or another off-speed pitch on 3-2.
Paquette into left field to give the Cardinals the lead. Nice play by Tucker to cut it off. In to score Robinson, and the Cardinals lead 2-1 in the third.
Actually was a pretty good breaking ball that he went down and get and got. A lot of times with that first base open, you know you're going to get a breaking ball, and you just try to make sure it's going to be a strike. And watch this one. See, he goes down. He knew it was coming, followed all the way down there, lifted it, and you mentioned it. Gary Robinson with 2 strikes, 2 outs. He gets a running start, and with his speed, as long as the ball gets down, he's going to score easily. And Tucker did make a nice play to cut it off and not allow Paquette to get into second base.
Boy, can he run. Wow.
It's been fun to watch, period.
Now it's Ray. Langford is hitting .270 with 13 home runs. Right side of the infield is open for him. Ball 1. See if Ray can pop one here. Ray hit a home run on Saturday.
Got one Friday and Saturday. Home runs. 13 now on the year. Took 1 to left, 1 to right. Working him away.
That's into center field, but right at Tucker. Bad break, hit hard, but that ends the inning. So Craig Paquette delivers with 2 out. Pitch low and away. That swing, that hit, and after 3, 2-1 St. Louis. That's got to be a hint. Let's give us today's Aflac trivia question. Who gave up Lou Brock's first major league hit? Who gave up Lou Brock's first major league hit on today's Aflac trivia question? I know who gave up his 3,000th hit. I have to take myself out of this competition because I have no idea. Sean Casey will lead it off for Cincinnati, with Dimitri Young and Bill Selby to follow. 2-1 the Cardinals now lead after 3, 4th inning, and Andy Benes goes back to work. Part of their order, Casey, an RBI single, his first time up. This is the one real big threat in their lineup. He and Dimitri Young, who waits on deck. A strike hits the outside corner. Benes talked about trying to use the fastball more, and so far he has followed up on that. Last inning, pitched around a single, an error, stolen base. That's too far inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Back in the first inning, Sean Casey went the opposite way. An RBI single. It scored Dion, but then Andy Benes got around further trouble by getting Dimitri Young on a double play. 1-2. Well, so far, so much better for Andy Benes, who lasted only 3 2/3 his last time out.
Give you a hint on our trivia question, Joe.
A 1-2 to the right side for Paquette. Big hop. 1. I know the answer because the guys in the truck always tell me. They don't even let me fumble around and show my ignorance.
We'll just give some hints for our audience.
Go ahead.
You said Sean Casey. Earlier we told you what part of the state of Pennsylvania he's from.
Okay. This guy played in the other part of the state.
other part of the state.
Here's Dimitri Young. Dimitri bounced into a 6-4-3 double play. He's holding his own at third base so far in this series. And he's a little late, strike 1.
And he's been able to keep the ball sufficiently well away from the left-handers and get some early strikes.
That's skipped in there. 1 ball, 1 strike. What's Andy Benes' biggest fear? Snakes. Indiana Jones didn't like snakes either. But Indiana Jones didn't have a very good breaking ball. Ground ball to the right side. Paquette to the guy with a bad knee covering. 2 out. Andy's getting around a little better on that bad right knee, by the way. He got over there in a hurry, and with 2 out, nobody on, Selby will bat. Cardinal fans, on Friday, June 22nd, the Cardinals take on the Giants. Good game, and it's the Shane Company mouse pad night. The first 25,000 fans, 16 and over with a paid admission, receive a Cardinal mouse pad courtesy of the Shane Company. That is Friday, June 22nd, Cardinals and the Giants.
That pitcher that gave up Lou Brock's first hit was also a Hall of Famer.
Still is a Hall of Famer.
Yes, he is.
2 out, nobody on, and a strike on the outside corner to Selby.
And we won't tell you that, and we'll give you another hint. It wasn't Ferguson Jenkins who started with Philadelphia.
I didn't
know
know
that.
No,
Yeah.
I did not. That's low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. And he was named after Batman's sidekick. Selby 2-1.
A religious person with a very mean streak on the mound.
I think his social security number started with a 3. But that's all we're giving you. 2 balls and a strike. Selby with 2 out hits it foul. 2-2. This guy's been getting better every time we see him. Selby's getting better swings every time up. And as Al mentioned, 6 of his 10 hits on the year against Cardinal pitching. 2 out, nobody on. Selby 3-2 with Pokey Reese waiting on deck.
Andy's face in a lineup that's missing all the key ingredients, but when you see that Selby's, some of the young pitchers are getting an opportunity to shine up here, and they're going to be better off for it.
To the right side, Paquette with a backhand. The big guy with a bad leg runs well. And the ground out to the right side. Edgar will start it as this game goes to the bottom of the 4th. Bennis pitching well. Cardinals lead it 2-1. It's a 2-1 Cardinal lead as they bat in the bottom of the 4th. Congratulations to Albert Pujols, who's named the National League's Rookie Player of the Month for the 2nd straight month. He's the only guy ever to win it in the National League. It's a brand new award this year. He's on the cover of the new issue of the Cardinals Game Day magazine. Check out the feature story on Albert's phenomenal start, as well as all the other great articles in this new magazine. You can enjoy it all by starting your subscription tonight. Call him 314-982-7336. 982-7336. Here is Edgar leading it off, and there's a pitch a little bit low. Ball 1. Renteria, Matheny, and Andy Bennis here in the 4th. And that should be the first out. And on the hands of Renteria, foul ball. Sean Casey, 1 out. Our Aflac trivia question: who gave up Lou Brock's first major league hit? That's the question. Our Aflac trivia answer: Robin Roberts, a Hall of Famer, played for Philadelphia.
It's a good one. See Robin every now and then. Lives in Florida. He was a tough one back then, man. They just players didn't, not that they didn't like the opposition, but you didn't allow the opposition to know you.
One ball, no strikes. And I think, that's obviously changed, but I think in certain respects that's not the fault of these players, because players move around so much more now that you're just as likely to have played with the guys in the other dugout at some point in your career as you are with the guys in your own dugout. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2-1.
Well, yes and no. There's John Wayne, his fun facts, Stevie's favorite actor. But I was talking to Griffey Sr., and we were talking about different things, and he said he didn't think Lou Brock liked him. And he said as soon as Gibson retired, Lou started talking to him. And he said, well, Gibby wouldn't let us talk to you guys.
He was the patroller of
He was the
particular.
But you know, there was, and I think it still is a rule, but during batting practice, Joe, there was always an umpire that sat in the stands, and you were fined $50 for fraternizing, and the umpires would come out and tell you, hey, you need to get away from the guy right now, or that's $50. You know, when you were making $10,000–$12,000 a year minimum salary, you know, those $50 they added up.
Good play by Fernandez to his right. Matheny grounds out 1-3, and Andy Bennis will bat with the bases empty. Tonight, super fans, there you go. There they are with a message to Jim Rome. For details on becoming a super fan, give him a call, 314-206-7000. 206-7000. On games where we're doing a Fox Sports Net game, make a sign and you've got a chance. Andy Bennis goes after the first pitch and fouls it. Andy, a strikeout victim his first time, 3 out of 18 at the plate. 0-1. The Reds will have the bottom 3 in their lineup in the top of the 5th. Reese, Stinnett, and him, Osvaldo Fernandez, who's pitching pretty well. 0-2. Two out, nothing shaking in the 4th inning so far for the Cardinals, and a 1-2 pitch to Andy Bennis. Going to break, we'll have that effect. It's kind of that foggy look, the Elizabeth Taylor look, the Linda Evans look with that little glow. Aging? I'm not aging.
Or I might say the Goodyear blimp look. I was supposed to go up on the blimp today.
Today was the day, huh?
Yeah.
That's on the outside corner, or at least close enough with a pitcher up. Miss Taylor, you're on in 5 minutes. After 4, 2-1 Cardinals. It's a 2-1 Cardinal lead. Oh, goodness. Coming up immediately after the game tonight, join us for the Midwest Sports Report. We'll have a complete Cards post-game wrap-up. We'll preview the Major League Baseball draft coming up tomorrow, and Jeff Gordon's take on the NHL. That's right after the game on Fox Sports Net. This is the look that you and I should go for.
This one?
This one, not this one in particular.
There's lights too now. Lights too.
That look right there. Tim, turn that off
before they start yelling at us.
That's on the outside corner. Wrinkles? What wrinkles? This new skin cream that I'm using and that halo effect on the camera makes me look like I did in the late 1950s. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pokey Reese. First time up, he flied to center. 2-1. There it is.
There we are. Gee, modern television.
You're getting testy.
You're looking better, aren't you?
I do. I look much better in that.
I've always thought I look bad everywhere.
That's on the outside corner, 2-2. Reminds me of that foggy game we played back at Wrigley a couple of years ago. Wire at the plate, you couldn't see where the ball was.
One we might get tomorrow.
How's the weather supposed to be?
I don't know. Somebody said it's supposed to be 85 here tomorrow. But rainy.
Really? 3 balls, 2 strikes.
What I was told.
Andy Bennis brings it, and Reese pops it into right. Drew put the brakes on, comes in, gets it, 1 away. How about the pitch count so far for Andy Bennis? 69 pitches, so not bad as he has 1 out here in the 5th inning.
And really, you think about the first inning was the only inning that he really had a little bit of trouble in. The only inning they scored.
You see who leads all of the outfielders in the American League in voting for the All-Star game?
Ichiro.
Ichiro. Oh, and 1 the count on Stinnett. The next from Andy. That'll get out of play. 0-2. The hits for the Reds have come to the hitters in the first 4 positions in the Cincinnati lineup. They have only 4 hits. The bottom of the order to this point, 5 on down, hitless. And he has Stinnett at 0-2. Kelly hitting .268. Stinnett last night in the 9th inning after Sanders had been announced as the pinch hitter. Stinnett came up, hit a ball down the left field line. It was a single, probably could have been a double had he stretched it. But Stinnett was at second after a wild pitch, and now he ropes one into left field. Back at the wall. This game is tied. Reaching for it, Stinnett drives it out of here. And when you start to talk about Venice dominating the bottom part of the order, Stinnett hits his 4th of the year, and it's a 2-2 score.
13th home run that Andy has left sail out of the ballpark this year is Stinnet's 4th and 11th RBI. That breaking ball and a hanger in the strike zone. He had to reach for it, but muscled it out of here. Sailing into the second deck, and we have a tie score. Andy was hoping that it wouldn't get out of here, and it did.
There's a strike on the outside corner to Fernandez. Two. Fernandez acting odd after that swing. He stretched something, pulled something. He gets back in there. Stinnett has tied this game 2-2 in the 5th. 2 out. Randy Venice, that is his 2nd strikeout.
On the robotic camera, the breaking ball, and not far enough beyond the reach of Stinnett as he reaches the 2nd level of the seats right here. Andy was hoping that it would come down, and it did, unfortunately, on the other side of the fence.
Cards will have the top of the order in the bottom of this 5th, and that group will have to go back to work. 2-2 game, 2 out, nobody on, with Deion Sanders at the plate now. Deion is 1 out of 2. And 1 out of 3. That's into left center field. Langford is going to get it, and that ends the inning. But 1 hanging slider later, and it's a tie game. Through the fog into the seats in a 2-2 score. Bottom of the 5th inning, a 2-2 game. We'll talk about Saturday, June 16th, the Cardinals and White Sox, a 12:15 game. And it is McDonald's Collector's Coin Day. All fans 15 and under with a paid admission receive a collector's coin featuring Darryl Kyle, courtesy of McDonald's, Saturday, June 16th. Cards hosting the White Sox. Vina first up, top of the order. Fernando's 1 out of 2. He has scored a run tonight. He takes a strike.
Fernando got that 3rd inning going with led off with a base hit to left.
Here's an 0-1. Strike 2. The in-game box score, where has the damage been done? Pretty much spread out. Nobody has 2 hits. Paquette an RBI tonight. Drew with an RBI ground out. Top of the order set that up with back-to-back hits to start the 3rd inning. Vina behind in the count, 0-2. Reese. 1 out. Gary Robinson will bat.
Yeah, Joe, I told you it's supposed to go up in the Goodyear blimp today, the Spirit of Goodyear. They were in town for the next couple days trying to help Dobbs Tire and Auto Center celebrate their 25th anniversary. In the weather, I wasn't able to go up. But during the Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's 25th anniversary celebration, we registered to win a brand new 2001 Pontiac Grand Am. Dobbs started out with 1 store out there in the Yorkshire Plaza.
Robinson loops a base hit into left. He's 4 out of 5 in this series. And he's 2 out of 3 tonight.
Well, he's just fun to watch, isn't he? Just he knows his strengths, what his limitations are. A slap hitter is a pretty good explanation of it. Not a breaking ball, but just goes down and so ever so gently just lob serves the ball out into left field. And then he can be an exciting player once he reaches base, too.
See if he wants to take off as Polanco digs in. I think the Cardinals would start the runner here.
Well, you got the excellent, number 2 hitter or type guy that hit behind him. Polanco batting 3rd in the order tonight.
Gary draws a throw. Polanco with a single to right, and he lined out to right. He is doing what you talked about earlier against a pitcher like Fernandez, going the other way. Runner goes. Line drive into right. That ball's going to get down. It gets behind Ochoa. Gary Robinson will score. Polanco motoring over to 3rd. The Cardinals lead 3-2 as Robinson and Polanco do the damage in the 5th.
Joe, it all starts with running speed and a guy that can hit behind a runner. They put on the hit and run and works to perfection. You knew you were going to have 1st and 3rd, but Ochoa, the ball, he's been playing outstanding out and right. Got a pitch out away from him. Here's where you're going to see it's perfect for him to hit it there. Now the ball gets by Ochoa. You cannot anticipate that, and that allowed the Cardinals to take the lead and a great scoring opportunity. Perry had to pick it up. He had to find out where the ball was so he wouldn't be doubled up on a line drive, and then the rest of it's off to the races. So he scores, and Polanco ends up at 3rd with 1 out. Another great scoring opportunity for JD.
It's up to Drew. He has knocked home 42, including 1 in this game, and he takes the ball up and in. An RBI triple for Polanco. He's gone to right 3 consecutive times. He has got an idea. Cardinals have their 1-run lead back. They could have their biggest lead if Drew can do something. That's foul. And it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. JD 42 RBIs. Cardinals are playing in their 56th game.
The only guy that has a chance to throw out a runner at the plate would be Casey on the right-hand side. So if he pulls the ball and it doesn't go to any place other than the first baseman, and then it would still take execution.
Polanco's on his toes over at 3rd. The 1-1. Chased one. Exactly what Fernandez wanted him to do, and it's 1-2.
Absolutely. You get in that RBI situation, a lot of hitters will kind of try and do too much. That ball right up there, and JD sees it, but you can see how he pulled off of it. The ball up, you say, well, it's an easy sacrifice fly, but you got to hit it.
Now you can see the entire infield comes in with 2 strikes. Runner at 3rd, 1 out, and a line drive. Bad break. Double play. You talk about a bad break. A rocket to the first baseman, and Polanco, who was on his toes, came down the line and couldn't scramble back. Drew couldn't have hit it any harder. Cardinals get one and regain the lead.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
This portion of Cardinal Baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Jack in the Box, where we don't make it till you order it. By your local St. Louis Chrysler Jeep dealers, the official automotive sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals on Fox Sports Net. And by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. For tires and complete auto service, all you need is Dobbs. 25 years of being in the business, the Dobbs Auto Tires. And they got 36 dealerships now.
We'll give you today's Pennzoil protection play, and it was protection for Osvaldo Fernandez on that line drive. 3-5 on the double play. So the Cardinals get only the one run. They lead 3-2 now as we go to the sixth inning, and Michael Tucker will bat with Ochoa and Casey to follow. This will be a big inning for Andy Benes with these hitters, again with the lead as he works the sixth. He gets the first man if somebody can wait for it on the other end of this pop-up. It's Langford, and that's one out.
That's a big pitch right there. Fastball away, and then he got a changeup that he got underneath and got the pop-up.
Look at that big smile from Ray. One away. I know it wasn't about the out. Somebody must have said something that made him laugh. One down.
Set up away, and there he got away with that changeup. Tucker got underneath it. That is a big out.
Now Ochoa. Alex 1 out of 2. Ball 1. On deck is Casey. Two 2-0. I wonder how wise it is on the part of Andy Benes to be public about what his approach is going to be tonight in today's paper as Ochoa grounds to short. Renteria takes care of it. 2 out. Andy Benes saying he's going to work fastball, 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 at least feature it more than he has. And in the paper or not, so far so good. And here's the pitch by pitch on Ochoa.
Well, Joe, you know, he mentioned that, but he hasn't really pitched that way. Here's an off-speed pitch, ball 1. Another off-speed pitch, ball 2. And then when you think you're going to get a fastball that you can handle, he throws him a fastball and he can't do much with it, just a ground ball to short.
So 2 out, nobody on. And here is Sean Casey. Casey 1 for 2 tonight. That's into left. Langford is there, and the inning is over. So Andy Benes gets through a very important 6th inning with the heart of their lineup, protecting a 1-run lead. This game goes to the bottom of the 6th. Cardinals bat, and they lead by 1. All of you television pirates, beware. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinal Baseball is a production of Bud Sports, not Fox Sports, and is an exclusive presentation of Fox Sports Net. Leading it off is Paquette, and there's the foul ball. He is a first pitch swinger, and he has been doing that off the bench, and he's done it every time up tonight. And his tonight has been a good tonight with an RBI single his last time up.
And there's that breaking ball. He goes down and gets it. RBI.
Here he grounds to the shortstop. Tough play by Reese in the hole. Good throw. 1 out.
Now Pokey's won Gold Gloves the last 2 years at second base, but his natural position is shortstop. Larkin being out, he gets to play his favorite position.
Cardinals are erasing 8 games on their schedule with Cincinnati, and they will not have to deal with the likes of Griffey or Larkin or Aaron Boone or Harnish.
Yeah, they come back at the end of this month again.
Quick two-gamer on the 26th and 27th. Here's Ray. He is 1 out of 2. Cardinals lead 3-2 in the 6th inning. Strike one.
Fernandez has struggled his last 2 times out. Even though he's trailing, he's still pitching effectively here.
Here's the 0-1. Ball and a strike as Ray got out of the way.
Ray got a base hit on a breaking ball, then he lined one to center. And Stinnett was trying to get Fernandez to elevate the ball in the zone.
2-1. Renteria will follow. Cardinals lead 3-2, trying to take 3 of 4 in this set and have a 500 homestand after losing 3 of 4 to Milwaukee.
Joe, I had a manager one time that said all you have to do is play 500 baseball during the week and then win every Sunday. And if you did that, you'd be 26 games over 500.
How long did that manager last? There's a 1-out walk.
Not very long.
That is the 2nd walk of the night by Fernandez. Weeknights, it's totally NASCAR. Only on Fox Sports Net, your exclusive all-access garage pass with 30 minutes of NASCAR news, highlights, plus the latest developments on what's gearing up for that week's race. Totally NASCAR. Weeknights at 6, only on Fox Sports Net.
That was the infamous Vern Rapp.
Aha! You are now quoting Vern Rapp.
And people had never thought I paid attention to Vern.
My gosh. You didn't listen to him when he said shave that goatee.
I shaved for the first half.
1 on, 1 out. Renteria takes a strike. Edgar is hitless tonight. He's hit a comebacker and fouled out. He has 4 home runs on the year, a .238 average, as the Cardinals try to get him going. Langford at first with 1 out. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Joe, we've seen some good signs of not only Ray breaking out, but Edgar starting to swing the bat much better. Starting to hit the ball a little harder. A few more extra base hits are coming up. He came in 4 for 10 against Fernandez.
0 for 2 tonight, so he's due. That's
almost on cue, huh?
That was foul.
But that gives you an idea of how the ball can jump off his bat. Set a record last year for the most home runs ever by a Cardinal shortstop, and this ball a little too hard. Just actually kept on carrying foul. He obviously did not see Carlton pitch.
Nobody English whatsoever. Winchester and Mercado. Mercado, the left-hander, getting ready for the Reds, and the Cardinals have action. That could be 2. Bad throw. Out at second. And Fernandez basically rolled it back to Pokey Reese. 2 out. The batter will be Matheny.
It could have been out of the inning if he would have helped his own cause. Jammed in here. A little tapper back to him. Tries to take that crow hop, but he had his momentum going backwards, and a good call. He was out. Ray was out at the force play, and Pokey stays on the bag, stretches like a first baseman. Marty Foster. He took that little crow hop to get everything in sync and get his weight shift properly, but then it looked like when he threw the ball, he was almost falling backwards, and the ball kind of took a 2 or 3 hopper before it got to his shortstop.
Now Matheny, who drove one out of here last night. Renteria at first, and this might be a spot where you try to run.
Let's go back, and you can see that he was clearly on the bag and the ball and glove before Ray got there. So a good call by Marty Foster, second base umpire.
I would like to see Edgar try to steal. It's just my opinion. He's at first with 2 out. And Matheny fouls it right side. Tough play, and he won't get there. Casey gave it an effort. Strike 1.
Yeah, Casey always going to get an effort. I'd like your idea too, Joe, to see Edgar get himself in scoring position.
He has 3 stolen bases on the year.
Yeah, 3 out of 5, but you know, he's a much better percentage base stealer than that.
Renteria at first with 2 out. Edgar was bouncing around as the pitch was coming to the plate.
See him jumping up and down, and a good way to get picked off or have a catcher catch it.
You happen to be in the air in one of those bounces.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason LaRue, who kind of learned from Benito Santiago, who loved to throw behind runners.
1 on, 2 out, 1 ball, 1 strike. And that's strike 2. I don't think he's going to run out.
I don't think he is either, but I think we both would like him to. Fernandez looks like he's got some fairly quick feet there, keep you honest at first, but Stinnett has only thrown out 6 of 16 would-be base stealers, 27%.
One and 2 on Matheny.
2-2.
The Reds in the 7th will have Young, Selby, and Reese. Cardinals have Christensen ready in their bullpen if they need him. See if Renteria goes on 2 and 2.
Be anxious to see if he does go, if he takes a different lead.
Not running as Matheny grounds to short. Force out at second to end the inning, and this game goes to the 7th. 7th inning in St. Louis. Game 4 of this 4-game set. Andy Benes back to the hill. 3-2 Cardinals. All things go well, and they should. Mack will be in the lineup tomorrow night in Chicago. A 3-2 Cardinal lead tonight. Coming up in the series, Dustin Hermanson and John Lieber tomorrow night on Fox Sports Net at 6:30. Then 2 day games. Darryl Kyle and Kerry Wood on Wednesday. That's when Jack Buck will sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," and then Matt Morris and Kevin Tapani on Thursday. Our advanced auto division standings: the Cubs on top. The Cardinals at the end of the night will either be 2 out or 3 out. The Cubs are idle tonight. Milwaukee is not playing. There are only 2 other games, and they're all Western Division teams hooking up. Houston 5 out. There's a couple of the starters in the Cubs series, Dustin and Matt.
I don't know if Chuck Berry is going to sing "With Your Father" or another day. Maybe he's Tuesday. But Chuck Berry, the St. Louisman, is going to. He was on the field the other day. Mark DeJohn. He was wearing his sailor cap, you know. Mark DeJohn told a couple of players, younger players, he said, "See that guy? He was the first black submarine naval officer in the Navy in World War II."
That was Chuck Berry.
It was Chuck Berry.
I thought you were going to say he told him it was Captain from Captain and Tennille.
They wouldn't know either way, would they?
Dimitri Young is first up. Our old buddy in this series is 3 out of 16. Trying to jerk one out of here. 1 ball, 1 strike. It'll be Young, then Selby, then Reese in the 7th. That's out of play. Strike 2. Product of the Cardinal farm system taking on a product of the Padre farm system. Dimitri Young hitting .286. So far tonight, 0 for 2. Little low, 2-2.
Dimitri, Pokey Reese, Sean Casey, and Danny Graves are closer. Guys all arbitration eligible, in the final year or so before they become free agents. And the Reds have already committed a lot of money to 2 players, Griffey and Marco.
Here's a 3-2 pitch to Young. Into left center field. Is anybody going to get there? No. One hop up against the wall. A good start to the inning. Young has a double, and there's the tying run. Venice had a 1-2 count. Ran it to 3-2, and Dimitri plugged the gap.
Dimitri got the ball out away from him and drives it to the opposite field, and one hops the wall up around the gap. See the ball stays in the ballpark, but a scoring opportunity. Christensen had been throwing prior to this inning. He is not now. Timlin is throwing behind Andy. See Mike.
Runner at second, nobody out, and Selby pops it up. It's going to get out of play. Strike 1.
Reds have Selby, a left-handed batter. Then they have D.T. Cromer, Trip Cromer's younger brother. Is the only lefty on their bench. Bob Boone. Bob Boone sometimes has a tough time just finding 8 healthy bodies to put out there.
Here's the 0-1. Selby's jammed, and that's strike 2. Venice has only 2 strikeouts tonight, one of them against their pitcher. But he could use one here or a pop-up. Tying run at second with nobody out here in the 7th. Pokey Reese waiting to hit next. Three-2 Cardinals in the 7th, and the 0-2 pitch to Selby. That's Selby trying to advance the runner, and the count's still 0-2. Bob Boone, former manager of the Kansas City Royals, and now his first year with the Reds. 38 games under the 500 mark, his career mark as a manager. Replaced by Tony Muser in Kansas City.
Yeah, and then the last 3 years after his firing in Kansas City, he was special assignment to Jim Bowden, the general manager of the Reds.
1-2 on Selby. Andy Bennis trying to keep the lead. Top of the 7th, and the Cardinals lead by 1, but a leadoff double has that lead in jeopardy. And now Bennis wants to change the sign.
Get together and figure out something, Selby trying to at very least pull the ball so Young can go over to third. Youngkin is on the phone, make sure to see if Timlin is ready.
So Timlin appears to be ready. Throwing leisurely now, just trying to stay warm. Christensen is the one hanging over the railing there with his jacket on. Here comes a 1-2 pitch to Selby. Oh, just outside, 2-2.
And he's had some success of trying to get that fastball out away from the left-handed batters. That one was 90 miles an hour. That's the hardest we've seen Andy throw tonight.
Runner at second, nobody out, 2-2 the count. Selby does his job. Going to take a good play from Bennis to get him, and that's exactly what Andy gives the Cardinals. One unassisted, but over at third is Young. The tying run with one away.
Andy bounces off here. He's really moved very well and made a couple plays at first base. Gotten nice feeds from Paquette. This time he does it himself. Then you see him spin and throw to make sure he keeps that runner at third in check. And it looks like we're going to have a double switch right now. Looks like they were pointing to Langford as Timlin will come in.
Renteria, it appears.
Oh, Renteria, okay. And Pujols is going to go play third base as Polanco will go to short.
So Renteria's gone. That's where the pitcher will hit. Pujols will lead off in the bottom of the seventh. And a nice hand for Andy Bennis, who came in with his ERA up near 7. He needed a good one, and he turned in a good one tonight. Points to his family back in the family section. He's gone. Now it's up to Timlin to try to keep the lead. Well, if you would like to win Cardinals tickets and participate in the Southwest Airlines Family of the Game promotion during a Cardinal home game, here's your chance. Send your name, address, and phone number to Southwest Airlines Family of the Game, P.O. Box 771192, St. Louis, Missouri 63177. Good luck. We're in the top of the seventh. A 3-2 Cardinal lead, but a runner at third, one out. It's Mike Timlin, who has been busy, preparing for the third consecutive game.
Well, yeah, he pitched last night, and he actually got the win in that ball game. 23 strikeouts in 28 and 2/3 innings, and that's really what you need right now. Either a strikeout or a pop-up on the infield. Speaking about the infield, part of the double switch is Renteria's out. That's where Timlin will bat in the order, and in ninth spot we'll have Albert Pujols, who's playing third.
So Pujols, who was honored on the field before the game. Another Rookie of the Month award for him. Runner at third, infield is in. Pokey Reese at the plate, and the ball low and away. Came into tonight's game talking about the Cardinal bullpen. And the bullpen will have a lot to do with how this game turns out. Tying run at third, one out. And the 1-0. That won't do the trick. Pujols looks at Young, 2 out. Good work by Timlin to get that out. And now it's up to Stinnett, who homered his last time up.
That's a big out right there.
I think that's time for the Pizza Hut perfect delivery.
Man, speaking of deliveries, here it is.
Sounds good right now.
It does, doesn't it? Right there at third, you see Dimitri, good base running. He has to retreat. Pujols looks him back. You throw across the diamond, you get the second out of the inning. And now it takes, well, in Matheny, you don't ever get wild pitches or pass balls, so it's going to basically take a base hit.
Good play by Ron Oster, the third base coach, as Stinnett falls behind 0-1.
He's involved in one of the old snafus.
Stinnett in the fifth inning reached for a hanger from Andy Bennis and hit it out of here, which at the time tied the game. Here's one up the middle, going to take a good play, and there's Vigna. Good play, inning over, out away Mike Timlin. He and the Cardinals keep the lead, and that was, without a doubt, a perfect delivery by the Cardinal right-hander. 2 ground outs, a leadoff double wasted after 6.5, 3-2 St. Louis.
This National Sports Report Sports Break is brought to you by Computer Associates.
I'm Kevin Frazier, the National, here with this sports break. It's Pedro versus the Yankees, Part 3, as the Red Sox visit the Bronx in a battle of American League East rivals. Jerry Rice is no longer a 49er. We'll tell you where the future Hall of Famer will touch down next. And Marcus Johnson and Jack Haley will talk NBA Finals as we break down the key matchups between the Sixers and the Lakers. It's all tonight at 10:30 right here on the National.
This portion of Cardinal baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Celebrating 30 years of freedom, 30 years, one mission, low fares. By Advanced Auto, the best part is our people. And by Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse, improving home improvement. the Eagleton building, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Bottom of the 7th inning. Cardinals on top 3-2. Good work by Timlin. And a double switch for the Reds on the heels of the Timlin work. Scott Winchester, a right-hander, will take over. There are his numbers. Good ERA. 10th game for the young right-hander. He's the second pitcher of the night. Fernandez is gone. He can only be the loser if he gets a decision. The new catcher, it's just a new battery. The catcher is LaRue, and Stinnett is gone, so the pitcher Winchester will bat 8th.
Yeah, Winchester has posted a 1.35 ERA in 6 games since he was reinstated from the disabled list. And an oblique muscle, rib cage on the left side. And there you see Jason LaRue, really a good throwing catcher. Very quick release.
First up is Pujols batting 9th. Fernandez went 6 innings, allowed 3 runs on 7 hits. Struck out 2, walked 2. Pujols, National League's Rookie of the Month for both April and May. Hitting .347, 51 RBIs, and he takes one low and away, ball 1 from Winchester.
He didn't get a full night's rest, but when you're only 21, you only need 2/3 of the game.
Originally on the bench tonight, the 1-0 pitch. 2-0. National League leaders in batting average, 13 points behind Rich Aurelius, the Cardinal rookie. Moises Alou in between them.
Tied for 4th in RBIs, tied for 6th in home runs, tied for 2nd in hits.
The 2-0 over the heart of the plate, 2-1.
But also has a .373 batting average versus right-handed pitchers, which ranks tied for 1st in the majors.
Among rookies, there's Albert Pujols, and then you can combine the next group of them. They won't total Albert. Here's a 2-1. Up the middle. Welcome to the ball game. Pujols is on to start the 7th. Rounds the base hard. He does everything right.
Yeah, he really does. And you know, Joe, the first game they saw him, they struck him out 3 times. They thought they could throw fastballs and breaking balls by him. They thought they could jam him. And we knew that it was just one of those fluke games, but he's been getting a lot of base hits now on the breaking balls, bouncing them right up the middle. He could take that fastball and drive it to the other side, and if they make a mistake trying to pitch him inside, and he'll hit it out. So you see, talked about hits leader. This is updated now.
So only 1 off the league leader is Pujols. Now to the Cardinals bunt. Nope. That's into right center field. Ochoa won't get it. It trickles to the wall. Pujols picking him up, laying him down, coming to the plate, safe. Going to third, Vigna, safe. And the Cardinals lead 4-2 in the 7th.
Well, that's a big insurance run, and still with a triple into scoring position. You know, it's a 19th RBI for Vigna. But you know, the one thing, you've been a little bit concerned with Vigna because he's getting a lot of balls in the air. But this time it's more of a line drive and it plugs the gap. So here Pujols conservatively checks it out, makes sure it gets down, and then he's off to the races. Picks up Oquendo, comes on home. Then you see Oquendo waving Vigna. He'll take a look at Vigna. And listen to this, the crack of the bat, sound, ball's right out there in front of him. He can make the decision. He knows he's got 2. He'll find his third base coach to see if he should come on to third.
One up and into Kerry Robinson. Another RBI chance for Kerry, who in this game is 2 out of 3. There is the league leading Vigna with his 6th triple. Infield is in. 1 ball, no strikes on Robinson. And that'll do the trick. Well hit into right. Back is Ochoa. Tagging is Vigna, and the Cardinals have their biggest lead of the night. It's 5-2. And Kerry Robinson has been sensational, his 4th big league RBI.
you know, Carey knows what he's doing. He knows when he needs to get on base, need to get a base hit, he goes the opposite field. Or if they make a mistake, he can turn on the ball. But here he wants a sacrifice fly at the very least. So he kind of muscles up, gets underneath it, drives that ball out to right, and Vina trots home with another big run and a 5-2 Cardinal lead.
Now it's Polanco with one out. He takes a pitch in the dirt for ball one.
Vina comes into third with his triple, slides, looks to the heavens, and thank you very much, Lord.
Talked about that during the pregame show tonight. A 1-0. Polanco, another base hit. 3 out of 4, and the inning continues. 1 on, 1 out.
Pitch is really pretty much down the middle and taking advantage of him right now. And
Tell you one thing, Alan, I know we're going to have a pitching change, so I cut you off. This lineup doesn't have McGuire in it. It doesn't have Edmonds in it. It didn't start with Pujols in it. But this group does what that other group at times doesn't do, and that is they have manufactured runs here tonight. They've been getting guys on. They've been getting guys over. They've been driving in runs, come up with big hits, a sacrifice fly. They are doing everything right tonight offensively, and you can funnel it all back to Andy Bennis and his strong start tonight. And his young teammates have rewarded him with 5 runs. Pitching change. Hector Mercado coming in with Drew coming up. 1 on, 1 out. The Cardinals up by 3.
Cardinals lead 5-2 in the bottom of the 7th and threatening, Joe.
On the field, they're invincible, but off the field, they're all too human. Fox Sports takes a look at the athletes you thought you knew. This week, Sean Elliott appeared to have it all until a mysterious illness tested his will to survive and revealed his true courage. Find out about the Sean Elliott you never knew as Beyond the Glory takes you inside the hidden world of sports' biggest stars. It's Beyond the Glory, Sunday, 8 p.m. on Fox Sports Net. Here's Drew dealing with Mercado. Lefty on lefty, and ball 1.
Mercado's been pretty tough since he's come back to the club. 2-2. He's won the game on Friday night, throwing a scoreless 7th inning. He's pitched in 2 of the last 3 games, and he has not allowed a run in 6 games since his recall.
Check on Polanco.
Mercado will throw a lot of things hard, so JD can, he's not going to see a lot of real soft stuff. Fastball, looks like a cutter, maybe even hard slider.
There's a good pitch. 92. 1-1. Drew with an RBI tonight. He's also hit a rocket to first. 3 of JD's 19 home runs have been against left-handers. Here comes a 1-1. That should be the second out. Deion Sanders coming to get it. Struggling, and it's a fair ball. Polanco will end up at third. Drew into second. Oh, they called him out. The home plate umpire hustling down there called him out. Oquendo went crazy. Put up an argument. Polanco put up an argument. You could see from back here he was safe.
Yeah, but it's really hard to tell with Wally Bell. It looks like he's in perfect shape. He's down on a knee. He's looking right at the play. Well, he missed it. You can see Deion Sanders was looking help a long time ago. See where the third base umpire is, and so the home plate umpire has to go make the call. But look at where he's at. He's in perfect position, but look at how badly he misses the call.
That's awful.
Well, it's awful, but it's one of those things where you say, hey, he got there in time, and
still hadn't tagged him.
Yeah, he still hadn't tagged him. And Wally Bell just misses the play, but you've got to appreciate the hustle.
I mean, that's stunning. He couldn't have been in better position. I don't know how he doesn't see this.
Well, you know what he does is he doesn't see the tag, and he's looking there. He comes in with a swipe. You can't tell when he touches him, but I agree with you.
Intentional pass is coming to Paquette. It's a base hit for Drew.
I think you'd still give him a double.
I would give him a double. They could give him a double or a single and say that he took second on the throw to third. I'm putting him down for a double unless I hear different.
You know, that you showed a picture of Ron Kulpa, third base umpire. Kulpa went out as he should have, and Dion really didn't have a good jump. He went out to make sure the ball was fair or foul. Dion was looking for help. There's the third base umpire out here, the St. Louisan. Now watch him. He signaled it's fair. Now he runs over here to make sure that there was no fan interference. So the home plate umpire is right there in perfect position. He is screened a little bit by the slide. And Oquendo and Blanco do a great job not to get thrown out.
So now it's 2 on, 2 out. Runners at first and second, and it's lefty on lefty again as Mercado pitches to Ray Langford. Who knows what this inning would be without that call at third base. As it is, it's a 2-run inning, and it's up to Langford to add to the lead.
Ray could really put a nail in the coffin. And remember too, Joe, it still is the 7th inning. So with 6 more big outs for the Redbirds to get.
2 on, 2 out. Strike 1. Cardinals have Klein getting ready, and appears that he will come on and pitch in the 8th. Here comes an 0-1 to Langford. 1 ball, 1 strike. Klein hasn't been a Cardinal long enough to have a hat that looks like that, has he? Looks like Medwick wore that.
I know some of the players were complaining because they had new hats in their locker.
That's a good pitch on the inside corner, and it's 1-2.
I know somebody who got a new hat today for his singing debut in Chicago. He's not wearing no Cubby hat.
Dad's bringing props. 2 on, 2 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Langford wouldn't chase it. 2-2. This guy looks like he's a pretty good left-hander for the Reds bullpen. They have Reyes, who's on the disabled list. They called up Mercado when the Cardinals were in Cincinnati last weekend. Got good stuff.
And throws the ball hard and makes location, and he's going to be doubly tough.
2 on, 2 out. Langford back to the pitcher. And the inning is over. Big hit all over. Big hits everywhere. In the end, the Cardinals get 1 called against him. They get 2, lead by 3 after 7 in St. Louis. It's a 5-2 Cardinal lead after 7, trying to take 3 of 4 from the Cincinnati Reds. Cardinals fans, on Sunday, June 17th, the Cardinals play the White Sox. It is Pasta House Coca-Cola Pennant Day at the ballpark. All fans 15 and under with a paid admission receive a pennant featuring Matt Morris, courtesy of the Pasta House and Coca-Cola. Sunday, June 17th, when the Cardinals take on the White Sox. Weeknights, it's totally NASCAR, only on Fox Sports Net, your exclusive all-access garage pass with 30 minutes of NASCAR news and highlights, plus the latest developments and what's gearing up for that week's race. Totally NASCAR, weeknights at 6, only on Fox Sports Net. Jason LaRue will lead it off for the Reds in the 8th. Timlin will stay in to at least face LaRue. Klein is ready in the bullpen. The pitch. He'll need a new bat.
Joe, Stephen Lucas is celebrating his 3rd birthday today.
Yes, he is.
And Kathy Czar, 44 years of age yesterday.
Yes, she was.
Still.
LaRue back to the plate with a new bat. We've seen Timlin from time to time struggle after sitting in the dugout while the Cardinals were hitting. He had a while to sit there as the Cardinals came up with 2. Pena. Robinson with the RBI.
Not familiar with Boston.
Well, we're just another band out of Boston. On the road and trying to make ends meet, Al. 1 ball, 1 strike on LaRue.
Now I am.
They say, boy, I think this band's out of sight.
So they scored JD a single, and he went to second on the throw.
Okay, I disagree with that, but
Me too.
doesn't matter.
That's all right. They never ask Art when you do this.
2 balls and a strike on LaRue.
Where would he have ended up without Polanco being in front of him?
He would have ended up at second, Al.
Absolutely.
3 balls and a strike, and Timlin needs to throw a strike. Might have chased ball 4, and it's a full count.
Jason has struggled a little bit. He's hitless in his last 13 at bats. 0 for 8 in the series.
Three-2. 1 away. Leadoff man is gone in the 8th inning.
Big out.
Bullpen continues its fine work, and Deion Sanders will bat. Reds are loaded with right-handed batters. I'd just as soon have Timlin face this guy than Klein come in and take on a right-hander.
Yeah, I agree with you. You do have 2 lefties down there, but you know, Timlin should be able to overmatch Sanders.
Strike 1. 95 miles per hour from Timlin.
Yeah, you do that, and I mean the thing is too that would you rather you see what the Cardinal relievers have done, 1st in save percentage, they're 4th in ERA, and 5th in saves, with 5 different guys getting saves out of the Cardinals bullpen.
Timlin getting the win here yesterday. Saves belong to Christensen, Klein, Steck Schulte, Timlin, and Beers had his 8th last night, and he worked hard to get it. Did a good job.
You know, sometimes too, you'd rather have Timlin facing Deion Sanders or Klein facing, say, Rivera or Castro, one of the other right-handed batters.
2 balls and a strike on Sanders.
Well, Marty Mason out there, you know, they'll take a lineup card out there. They'll knock off guys, and so, you know, they'll go over. They know the situations.
Into center field, carrying the carry. 2 out. And Timlin is racking up some important outs tonight.
Absolutely. That's 4 for 4. And talking about 4, that's how many outs the Reds have left in this game.
Now Michael Tucker. So again, what matchup do you want? Do you want Timlin against Tucker, or do you want Klein against Rivera, Sadler, Castro?
They got a new guy, Clark, came up. And Brian Reith, the starter Saturday, was sent down.
Ball 1 high from Timlin with Ochoa next. So right now, even if Tucker gets a hit, they'd rather have Timlin still out there for Ochoa, who's on deck. 3-run lead. That's the luxury of a 3-run lead. 2 balls, no strikes. If you're Tucker, I think you have to take a strike here. And he does. 2-1.
Whether he was doing it on purpose or not, that was not the pitch. You would say, okay, 2-0, I'm going to look for this pitch. You don't look for a good fastball down and away.
Now it's 3-1. Timlin still throwing hard. 2 out, nobody on. Ochoa next. 2-out walk. Now you've got Timlin to face Ochoa, and if he doesn't get Ochoa, then it's obviously Klein coming in to face Casey, and you've got the best scenario for the Cardinal bullpen, and that's because Timlin got the first 2 outs of this inning.
Exactly right.
So it's up to Timlin to put Ochoa away. And then you can have the big thumpers in their lineup, Casey and Young, to start the 9th inning, and they can't do anything but make it a close game. That is dependent on Timlin, who gets a breaking ball in for a strike, getting Alex Ochoa, who is 1 out of 3 tonight. Ochoa hitting .295, 3 homers, 23 RBIs. Good pitch, strike 2.
Well, I'm just guessing, but when Timlin and Ochoa may have crossed paths in Baltimore, they definitely could have faced him or saw some of it when Timlin was at Toronto.
And Ochoa was with Minnesota as well. Here's the 0-2. Fastball, line drive. Sometimes you just have to get a little lucky as well. And Timlin deserves the luck. The way he's pitched, hit on a line, hit like a rocket, hit right at Paquette. Bottom of the 8th.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
Cardinal Baseball on Fox Sports Net is brought to you by Budweiser, with a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. Well, a treat for these fans. Not those fans in particular.
Mark McGwire.
There's the treat. And a pitching change, which, Al, doesn't bother McGwire one bit.
No, not
He'd
at all.
rather face a right-hander. So Mercado is gone. He did good work. He allowed that blue pitch. An intentional pass in and out, so Mercado goes 3rd of an inning, actually 2/3. McGwire will lead it off in the bottom of the 8th when we come back. Jim Brower, the left-hander, on the left part of your screen. The right-hander will deal with Mark McGwire to start the bottom of the 8th inning with the Cardinals up by 3. Brower says he's ready to go. And Mr. McGwire walks in with 556 career home runs.
Second stint for Jim Brower this season, and he's thrown 7 scoreless innings in the 3 games since his recall on the 28th of May. A year ago, he had 6 strikeouts, a career high right here at St. Louis.
Pitching for Cleveland.
You're all right, sir.
Here is McGwire. Pinch hitting. Strike 1.
Slider couldn't stop his swing.
What a job Mike Timlin did.
Outstanding.
And McGuire's batting for him. Timlin was terrific. Here's an 0-1. Timlin an inning and 2/3. No hits. 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Boy, those were big outs. 108 career home runs here at Busch Stadium. Back inside, it's 2-1.
I've seen more pitchers as Mark's timing's a little bit off, try to come inside, and eventually when that timing is there, that's a dangerous spot.
Brower is missing. Trying to be careful with McGwire, and the count 3-1.
Fastballs in, sliders away.
A leadoff walk. I'm sure the Cardinals will use a pinch runner. And that pinch runner will be Mike Matthews. Matthews, the starter last night.
So now it's just important for Mark to get those at bats and see major league pitching. And how about that? Took the batting gloves off, threw them to the fans. Not quite like Edmonds giving his bat.
No.
Yeah, you take my bat. I'm not using it this week.
Here's Matheny to bunt. Jabbing at it, strike one. So Matthews better be ready. Mike Matheny is up there to bunt Mike Matthews down to second.
And Dave McKay trying to tell him, well, this is what the signs are. He knows what they are if he's standing at home plate. He knows what the bunt is, but
that's a fair ball. Out at second. Oh, now they say foul ball. The home plate umpire first called it fair, but for the second night in a row, one of the position umpires out in the field overruled the home plate umpire, and this time it was the second base umpire, Marty Foster, and it hit the bat twice.
yeah, and you see him still in the batter's box, so foul ball. And you can see why that is such a tough play for the home plate umpire. He can't really see that. And these umpires have made a real conscious effort and the correct effort to try and get all plays correct.
This umpiring crew has a lot of life to it. Even if they missed the call down at third base last inning, they've at least been moving around. Now Matheny, that was a bad at bat. One out. Not only not able to get the bunt down, but then went after an unhittable pitch. And it's a runner at first, one out for Pujols.
Pujols 1 for 1 tonight. So when you're young, you don't need a whole night off. You just need part of the night off, and then you come out swinging again.
Runner at first, one out. Breaking ball for strike one. Klein will come in and try to close it down in the ninth inning. Cardinals have that luxury with Casey and Young and Selby. Lefty, switch hitter, lefty, because of the work turned in by Timlin.
Yeah, but you know, with even the switch hitter Young, you want him batting right-handed. Selby, they know they'll pinch hit for.
Here's a 0-2. A walk to McGuire. Matheny struck out. And Pujols, sitting 350, is set up at 1-2.
They've been feel like they could jam him and throw breaking balls to him.
Changeup missed, 2-2. Set up inside, and Pujols flies one into right center field. Well hit, trouble, and up against the wall. Mike Matthews will hold at third. It's a double for Pujols, and it's second and third, one out.
I know it's about time that they're going to make some mistakes. They had some early success, particularly in Cincinnati, facing Pujols. So there's a breaking ball, kind of backed up a little bit inside. Then he swings at a fastball. So 1-1, then a pitch away, breaking ball away. Then they come back with a changeup. It's 2-2. And then they try to come inside, and a good inside out pitch. And he hit that ball out into right center.
A little more experienced base runner might have scored on that play, but Mike Matthews ends up at third. Now the infield comes in, and the Cardinals are a hit away from busting this thing wide open. Vigna, 2 out of 4 tonight. Well, let's see. Are they going to send Matthews, one of their starters? Tucker makes the catch. They won't send him.
I mean, a bad throw and everything like that, but I think Oquendo's doing the right thing. It's one of your starters. You know, it's one of those situations where you do not want him to run into a collision and end up hurting himself.
Then you're looking for another starter.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've got a 3-run lead. You've got ample arms down there in your bullpen. You know, it's not like it's a 1-run game. It's not like it's, you know, 7th game of the World Series. So I think you've got to almost walk him through.
Well, now Kerry Robinson. Cardinals, can they ask for more out of this guy? Strike one. Kerry is 2 out of 3 tonight. A sac fly. Pair of singles. He's driven in 1 and scored 2.
First 5 batters in the Cardinals lineup tonight all have RBIs.
Second and third, 2 out. That squirts away, but don't go anywhere, Mike Matthews. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Remember, Kerry also played for Cincinnati briefly, so.
So here's his chance to deliver a big blow. Cardinals lead 5-2. Bottom of the 8th, have second and third, 2 out. A 1-1 to end the inning. Handled by Selby. And we go to the 9th. Albert Pujols has come in for 2 at-bats. He has a single, a double. As we go to the 9th, it's 5-2 Cardinals. Top of the 9th inning now. And Fernando Vina has been a big part of this game. Cardinals lead by 3. The play of the game brought to you by Budweiser. With a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. The RBI triple by Vina back in the 7th. That scored Pujols all the way from first. Vina would score on a sac fly by Robinson. That made it 5-2. It's still 5-2. Great relief work out of Timlin after a strong start from Andy Bennis. And now it's Steve Klein. The pitch here in the 9th inning.
30th appearance, 1-1 record, 1.85 ERA, 2 saves. Opponents are only batting .212 off him, and lefties are just batting .105. He's allowed runs in only 3 of his team leading 29 previous appearances, and there you see 18 hits and 24 and a third, 9 walks, 15 strikeouts, only 1 home run allowed.
KC, then Dimitri Young, then Selby is the scheduled hitter. Unlikely he'll bat. But the first 2 will be Casey and Dimitri Young.
Absolutely. You know you've got at least 2, and depending on how successful you are with those, depends on whether you get a save.
Casey takes a ball. Klein appeared in last night's game, faced 1 hitter and gave up a double to Kelly Stinnett, rather a single that could have been a double. Eventually Stinnett ended up at second with nobody out in the 9th inning, and Veers got around that for his 8th save. Wind whipping around here at the ballpark. The 1-0 is hit hard to the right side. Vina. Wow. 1 out. What a play. Leadoff man is gone. Coming up immediately after this game, join us for the Midwest Sports Report. We'll have a complete Cardinal postgame wrap-up. We'll preview the Major League Baseball draft, which happens tomorrow, and Jeff Gordon's take. Keith Kachuk and Eric Lindros right after the game right here on Fox Sports Net. And that will happen right about at 10 o'clock. If we have no more hiccups in this game. 5-2, the Cardinals lead. Here's Dimitri Young, the switch hitter. 1 out of 3 tonight, and he takes a ball. Young with the double back in the 7th inning against Andy Bennis. Selby moved the runner over to third, but Timlin came on, got 2 ground balls, and the Reds left the tying run at third. There's a line drive into left for a hit. They don't go quietly, and Dimitri Young is on, 1 on, 1 out.
Steve Klein didn't get the switch hitter. Dimitri 310 from the left side, but 234 from the right side, so that's why he was going to face him. Now they'll send up a switch hitter. It's Brady Clark, who was just recalled today,
and we'll probably have a pitching change. 34,014 paid to see it, and Dave Veers, I believe, is going to get a chance to save his ninth. He has been busy.
Well, we'll have to wait and see now. That he keeps on looking down there. Now they've got confirmation he's ready, and here comes your pitching change.
So a ground out on a heck of a play by Vina. A base hit. Klein won't be happy to leave, but he couldn't get the switch hitter Dimitri Young, and Brady Clark will be the hitter against Veers. So hopefully Dave has something left in that tank. He has been worked over in this series, and he will enter in this ninth inning. 1 on, 1 out. Cardinals lead by 3. We're in the ninth inning, and the Cardinals trying to win 3 of 4 from the Reds. We came on the air tonight talking about pitching and defense, and those two aspects of this game have been outstanding for the Cardinals tonight. Both figured in heavily in the 7th inning now when Timlin came on and got the 2 ground balls.
And Pokey Reeves bounced one over there to Pujols. He looked the runner back. And look at this play by Vina to end the inning. It's not the only one. Most of the night was off for Pujols, but Vina's had a very strong defensive night in several plays.
In that situation, a runner at third, 1 out. Timlin did his job. Veers says he's ready to go. 8 for 8 in save opportunities, and this falls into that category. He has been busy, though, and the question has to be asked, how much will he have left here on a Monday night, working in 3 consecutive games?
Well, sometimes a guy like even Dave Veers, even though he's not like your sinker type guy, that they get a little stronger with more work, or they get more movement. I think even with his split finger pitch, he gets a better feel for it.
Clark just called up from AAA, checks his swing and chops one foul off to the right. Strike 1. This guy, Brady Clark, at AAA Louisville, was hitting .263, 2 homers, 18 RBIs, 6 steals. Took over the spot of Brian Reith. His second opportunity with the Reds. Brady Clark. That might end it. Vina in the middle. Game over. Another save for Veers, and the Cardinals take 3 of 4 from Cincinnati. A .500 homestand, and now the Cardinals will roll into Wrigley 2 games out of first.
Yeah, the Cubs lost their 12-game winning streak yesterday. They are off today, but the Cardinals picked another half game off the lead, so they're down to 2 games. They trail the Cubs by 2 when we open a 3-game series.
Tomorrow night on Fox Sports Net. Tonight, the final 5-2 St. Louis. Great pitching, again, great defense. Tomorrow night, game 1 of the 3-game set at Wrigley starting at 6:30. That'll do it for us. Midwest Sports Report with Rob and Rob.